Well, good evening, guys. Thank you very much for being here today. Joining me here today are County Supervisor Ron Roberts, our City Attorney Jan Goldsmith, Tom Montgomery, and David Smith from the County Counsel's Office. And also here, the City-County negotiating team members, Chris Melvin, who's our lead negotiator from the firm of Nixon Peabody, Bill Corrado with Citigroup, and Dan Barrett with Barrett Sports. And finally, Michael Ziske, who's a partner at Cox, Castle, and Nicholson. Mike is one of the legal team focusing on CEQA issues. We just concluded our negotiation session, our second negotiating sessions with the Chargers, and I'd like to talk a little bit about next steps if we can reach an agreement. San Diegans deserve a vote on a new stadium, and today we discussed a framework that allows for a vote this year. This means that San Diego would have voter approval of a new stadium before the NFL allows teams to seek relocation in January 2016. City Council can call a special election for the City of San Diego voters by December 15, 2015, if our negotiations are successful. And the City and County negotiating team, as you see us here, is prepared to meet as often as necessary with the Chargers to reach an agreement by that time. We can get a new stadium approved this year if we work together to get it done. And of course, there are at least two reasons why a public vote is certainly the best way to move forward. First, it's the right thing to do. As you've heard me talk about, a project of this size and scope should be ratified by majority vote of the people. And second, a public vote provides more certainty and saves time by removing the possibility of a costly and lengthy referendum challenge. Over the past several months, certainly San Diego has embarked on an unprecedented effort to create a fair but yet achievable solution to keep the Chargers right here in San Diego, right where they belong. The effort and the conjunction between the city and the county truly is unprecedented. As you know, in January, the Stadium Advisory Group was formed. In February, the group moved up its completion date. March, we talked about the need for a new stadium in Mission Valley. And of course, recently, the city and the county have entered into a cooperative agreement with Citigroup and Nixon Peabody as our negotiating team. And just last month, a financial framework was released that showed how you could build a stadium without raising taxes. The city and the county are working very closely together. We have world-class experts who are here to negotiate a fair stadium agreement. And we can get it done this year. We have all of the ingredients for success if we work closely together with the Chargers. I'd now like to hand it over to Supervisor Ron Roberts, then City Attorney Jan Goldsmith, and then lastly, Chris Melvin from Nixon Peabody. Supervisor Roberts?
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. We are at the start now of a very complex negotiation. And it's not going to be over in a few days, as you can well imagine. The city and the county are working very, very closely together on this. Not just the people that you see here, but our staffs down in a 3 or 4 deep at various levels. We also have what I think is probably the best possible team that we've assembled to work on these issues. From legal consultants to sports specialists to financial experts, we have a premier team. I have a lot of confidence that if we can stay focused, work closely with the Chargers through the myriad issues, we're going to have something that San Diego will be proud of when we're done. A lot of work to do, but I feel that the mayor has rolled up his sleeves, to say the least, and everybody is working together in unison and in a very, very smooth way. So with that, let me turn it over to the city attorney.
Thank you very much. I will tell you, there were a lot of lawyers in the room. And we had a very good meeting. And I look forward to working with all sides to put this together. We put together a timeline with help of county council and with input from the Registrar of Voters that would enable this to go to the voter approval before the end of the year. And we believe that if there is a will on both sides, although we'll have to work really hard, and we're going to have to work every day on it, an agreement can be negotiated within that time frame, presented to the Board of Supervisors and the City Council, and then placed on the ballot for voter approval or disapproval before the end of this year. I'm willing to work and roll up my sleeves, as is our team, and we have the best team you could put together for negotiations like that. I look forward to moving forward.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Chris Melvin. I work at the law firm of Nixon Peabody, and let me say it is an honor to represent the city and the county in these negotiations. We've had two very well thought out and structured business discussions with the chargers and their legal representatives. We have gone through a myriad of issues. We are working through them. We have committed to them, and I think they have committed to us to try to get this done. We appreciate it, and I think that you'll be very proud of the efforts of the city and the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Obviously, there's a lot to go through as we're working on a lot of the details, but I'm happy to answer a few questions. I will just say that we left this meeting agreeing to get together for a third meeting that will happen in the coming days. It has not been set yet, but when that happens, we'll certainly let all of you know. Maybe a couple times for a few questions. Kevin, go ahead. You know, obviously that there's a lot of work that needs to be done in order to get this done by the end of the year. You have to have agreement. There's legal issues, which Jan mentioned, that we spent a lot of time on. But those are why you get together in a collaborative fashion to work forward. Our commitment was that we would negotiate a plan that is fair, that San Diegans will support, that gives us our opportunity for success. But there's certainly a lot of work still to do, and that's why we'll be meeting again in the next couple days.
I know your press release says a citywide election, so it's just for the city.
It would be a citywide election in December.
Mayor, could you explain how much time is spent in actual negotiating today and how much time is spent in presentations, such as the environmental presentation and the presentation?
Yeah, I would say we talked a lot about timeline today, a lot of legal issues. So we said there are a lot of things that we're going to need to be working on, particularly when it comes to finances and others. And that's why we've set out a very aggressive schedule that we need to continue to meet at least once a week for the next several weeks. And we're committed to doing that, if not more. You know, that's one of the issues that obviously the attorneys will be discussing in terms of all complying with environmental review and how we do that. And that's a very important part of this discussion. David.
But it's not going forward with an initiative like Carson and Inglewood did to help accelerate the secret process. Is that something you chose not to do it?
This plan would call for an agreement that we would have to be presented to the city and to the Board of Supervisors, and for a citywide special election. We can achieve that date by the end of this year.
Are the Chargers still pushing to move their stadium ideas into the downtown area?
You know, we didn't talk about that today. We didn't talk about location. We just talked primarily about timing and some of the legal options that we still need to agree on.
So why even have if there's no tax increase, why spend the $4 million or whatever it is to have this special election?
You know, as one of the reasons is we talked about a simple vote of the city council, as you know, can get referended with very little signatures. In fact, that's happened in San Diego recently over the last several years. By going directly to the people, you get more of a finality and certainty. And that's something that all of us want on both sides.
I just want to confirm what you said. It would be a citywide vote. It would not be a council-wide vote?
Correct.
Why was that decision made?
It's one of the, obviously the county has a requirement to move forward on a vote. This will be something that we'll be able to accomplish within the city of San Diego to make sure that we'll be able to do it by the December 15 timeline.
Jan, you said if the political will or the wills on both sides.
Yeah.
That if. Is there an if? I mean.
Well, you have to work hard to come together to do this. What you've seen, I think, as we have seen, in the last several months, frankly, is unprecedented with the city and the county working so closely together. Never have we had all of the experts from some of the best that have done this for NFL stadiums from throughout the country in terms of Citigroup and in terms of Chris here with Nixon Peabody on stadiums across the country, standing up for us, for San Diegans, to make sure this is a good and fair deal that voters will approve. So we have to work expeditiously, but at the same time, we have to be deliberate in making sure that a deal is fair and that will be supported by San Diegans. I've always said if it's a fair deal, San Diegans will step up and support it, just like San Diegans did with Petco Park. That is all of our goals here, and that's what we're going to be continuing to work on here over the next several weeks.
Did Charter say they were concerned if you don't do an initiative that the actual construction could be delayed by environmental hurdles?
We didn't get into that today.
What did you guys get into?
As I said, talked a lot about timeline issues, a variety of really in terms of how you make it in terms of legal. We did talk about land use. We did talk about a variety of other things. We touched on some financing issues. We're going to have a lot of negotiations. Obviously, that's what this is about, and we're not here to discuss negotiations in public, but I think it's important for people to know the group that's been assembled, and it's also important to people to know that we have a team that is committed to get this across the finish line and to get this across the finish line in a way that San Diegans will support and a way that achieves the objective by the end of the year. It'll take both of us working together to make that happen.
Last question,
Did Dean
guys.
Spanos seem encouraged by this December 15th deadline or discouraged, or did he have any feeling?
We did obviously talk about the date in December with Dean Spanos, Mark Fabiani. They had representatives from them as well, and we're meeting again in the next several days.
What's the atmosphere been like inside the conference?
Well, I mean, they're very, look, we spent about an hour and a half today. Very fruitful discussions, a lot of issues that still need to be resolved, and so that's why we're going to continue to meet to do that. But I'll certainly let them have their comments and as they speak, but suffice it to say, as Jan said, a lot of thought has been into where we are now. A lot of thought and a lot of action still needs to happen here in the coming weeks. But you'll never find a more committed group that is committed to get a fair deal, to get it done and to happen right here in San Diego. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate everybody for being here this afternoon. Thank you, guys.